All right, guys. Thanks for joining again. This is the Real Shot 256 for another episode of Evening Crypto. Today, I wanted to bring you the usual technical analysis on Bitcoin and kind of give you my perspective on things to see where Bitcoin might go again or might go in the near future, where I'm looking at and why. And then I also wanted to bring to you this piece of news that's been circling around CBS and 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes just did a interview with Charlie Frem that I thought was really well executed and also gave crypto a positive look actually. um, I thought maybe it could go the other way and do the typical thing, the easy thing, the low hanging fruit, and attack Bitcoin as something that's something that is um, utilized to money laundering purposes or to fund the terrorists. You know that whole story about how crypto is being utilized by criminals. But no, to my surprise and many others, I think they actually portrayed Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in a much more positive light. Um, so that was kind of unexpected, but it was a good thing. It was a good unexpected. So anyway, they did another story on something that kind of is, there is a tie to it, and I will talk about it in a little bit more into this video. But there is a tie there that I wanted to bring out to you guys and give you my perspective on this whole thing. So we'll get started. Let's look at CoinMarketCap. Currently, let me refresh that. Currently, we're around $250 billion, 148,005, and then our 24-hour volume is 65 billion. Our 24-hour volume is it's really pretty low compared to a few days and a couple weeks ago, where we reached the $90 billion plus. And to me, this is something that I've always been very cognizant of the 24-hour trading volume because it in the past has also triggered some retracements when the volume is less than 10% of the overall market cap. That's where I really become weary about making any moves or entering any trades because um, because usually that again correlates with a move downward. So what I do is I take the coin market cap overall volume, which is 248 billion.5, right? And I divide it by 65.6 in this case. Actually, it is 5.6 divided by 248.5, and that tells me we're about 26%. So I mean, it's definitely pretty high as far as the percentage goes. But again, it's been dropping steadily in the last, I don't know, week or so. We haven't seen much price action except for that flash crash, which by no means, it means that that was an actual correction. I was talking to you guys about my last email, or sorry, not email, but my last video. I was telling you guys about Bitcoin retracing to some prior lows. I was thinking 4,000, maybe 5,000, somewhere in that range where that golden pocket. But Bitcoin again, with the move upwards into the $8,000 range, and quite possibly moving higher than that into maybe the 9,000 range. So the retracement keeps, going up, kind of like, as price action goes up, then that ultimate correction bottom is also going up along with it, because we do expect somewhere around a 30 to 40% retracement. So, as our price action gets higher, then also our retracement target also gets higher along with it. Because historically, again, and this, I'm just relying on history. Historically, it has retraced and corrected about between 30 and 40% for these types of moves, given the state of the current Bitcoin market cycle. So we'll take a look at that, give you my perspective on where we're going. And again, one of the things I'm going to be looking at is the 24-hour trading volume. Again, if it dips down into the 10%, I doubt that it will. But if it does hit somewhere in the 10%, we'd have to get somewhere, um, I want to say, in the low 50,000s, maybe 40,000s, somewhere around there. Actually, 25,000. 24-hour volume, 25 billion, that is. If we do get to that point, then I'm definitely getting out of all my trades unless it's a short, right? But other than that, just be wary of that. Again, it's not the only indicator, it's not the end all be all, but it is something that I put some weight on, as well as the stochastic and the moving averages. So, taking a look at Bitcoin currently trading in the, I'll get rid of this here. Currently trading in the 8,000, just over 8,000 according to Bitstamp. Um, so we also keep in mind we're about to close in the next 5 days or so. We're about to close this monthly candle, and just look at it. This is May's price action here, this candle alone, and just look at how much we've done since um, since the beginning of April, or I'm sorry, since the beginning of May, a 52% increase in price. So, don't think that that's not going to have some sort of correction. I absolutely am waiting for that correction. So it's not a if, it's more of a when, right? So what I'm looking for here is if we close this monthly candle above 8,000, um, then I am definitely looking for a another move upwards into the $9,000 range. And um, let's see here. I should have taken this off. I was playing around with this um, uh, with this GAN fan earlier, and it just wasn't working out. Now I'm all over the place, not sure what's going on here. Let me get rid of these tools here so we can complete the video. Get rid of that. Okay. All right. So yeah. So here's where I'm looking as far as, depending on where we close. And I think we are going to close a monthly candle up above the 8,000 level, which will eventually, again, make another move up to the 9,000 range. And then from there, from the $9,000 range, once we hit about 91, 9,200, that's going to be our target on the upside. And then have a nice, massive retracement. Um, call it this move right here. And look at that. The reason I'm stopping here again is I've showed you in my past videos. This is called the golden pocket. I don't know if you guys have heard that before, but between the 382 and the 5 Fibonacci retracement lines, this is what traders call the golden pocket. So and look at that. I mean, technically, doing the technical analysis on this thing, I mean, it matches up perfectly. It just, it tells you the story, what to expect. Here's where we're going. Eventually, right? I mean, we do have to close this candle up above 8,000. I really want to see anything above 8,100, 8,200. 81 between 81 and 8,200 would be perfect. And again, that will just be the catalytic event for Bitcoin to hit that 9,000 target. And then from there, I do see it definitely more positive. I mean, almost 100% sure we're going to see that retracement finally come true and hit this level here again with the golden pocket, and then work our way back up to quite possibly another higher high above the 9,000 level, um, maybe to the 10,000. And once we get to that point, we'll reassess, right? But this is typically, an expected pattern based on history. Again, I'm going off of history here. This is something that could be expected given Bitcoin's past behavior. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I think. I'm thinking we're going to close above 8,000, hopefully between 81 and 80, 8,200. I do see that move as quite positive, quite or quite possible. I do think we're going to do that. And again, I do think we're going to hit that 9,000 before retracing. So this is where a lot of people are going to be buying back. A lot of sophisticated traders, a lot of algorithmic traders are going to be buying up in this section here. So it will be of no surprise, once we get to this point here. Um, Again, this is all for entertainment purposes. So you want to do what I'm doing, that's what I'm doing. If you want to do, if you're doing whatever you're following, whatever technique you're doing, this is all for entertainment purposes. That's what I'm doing. I'm just sharing exactly what I think is going to happen, what I'm doing. I'm taking a look at the lower time frames. Again, guys, if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I don't really like to get too granular on the price action. I don't. Maybe I'll look at the 1 hour occasionally, but the 4 hour on the shorter time frame is where I think is really the weight holder as far as these moves, and really painting a picture on the shorter term of things. But taking a look at the price action on the 4 hour, we are building this definite ascending triangle. And now in the past, let me go back here and zoom into the last few days and weeks. We've seen Bitcoin do this um, quite um, quite a few times again and again, and kind of resolving to the upside. So, kind of having this trend line here, and resistance and support here, and we'll just follow from here too. And you see it how it's breaking up out of this formation, breaking up again because of the trend that we're in. It's it just kind of has been following that pattern. We see it again here on this formation, another triangle forming here. Uh, right here. And we see it again break into the upside, having a little correction, but then again forming that nice triangle. And then guess what? We break up again, break to the upside again. We're forming it one more time in this latest trend again. Not trying to go too far back on this 4 hour, but you can kind of see it. This was kind of forming a wedge over here, but again, it just broke to the upside correction, some steady accumulation zone, building some support here, and then breaking up. Same pattern down here, accumulation, finally getting some momentum, breaking up. Then we get to this sort of parabolic move as of more recent times. And again, we're forming that same pattern. And I did put in this support line here to kind of show you where it's been trading. This flash crash here that we all heard about on, I think, BitMEX, if I remember correctly, bringing this wick all the way down to the $6,200 range. Not really calling that the actual retracement that we were looking for. Again, somebody might have fat fingered an order and it caused this huge dump, but it was only temporary. It was it didn't last very long, and then we see Bitcoin having a nice healthy buyback action here, and ultimately again stabilizing where it should have had this flash crash not happened. But again, it's staying above this range here. This is definitely support and accumulation here. And again, I'm always looking for these triangle formations to come to about 70-75% full, and then finally making a move. So we're definitely there here. If you take a look at this triangle formation here, we're definitely about 70-75% full. I think we're going to see a move. Uh, I think maybe Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest, but really Monday or Tuesday, I think we're going to make a move. It is the weekend, so typically we don't see big moves or big trades happening during that time frame during the weekend. So We are also above every major moving average here. We're above the 21. This is the red line here is a 30 simple. Again, it's a 30 simple. It's I mean, if you get really granular here, you can see it's trading between the 30 and the 21, the 30 simple and 21 EMA. I don't see I don't see really a retracement here. I'm going to stay bullish because, again, because of all that I've explained here, the triangle formation going back to, a few weeks back, that's just been the trend, the continuing trend. So again, the trend is your friend. The trend is your friend until it's not, until it turns around. So that's where, again, I think we're going to go. And if we go back to actually, I haven't showed you the weekly, but if we go to the weekly, there's the weekly will close tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. I'm in the Pacific time zone, so that's the time I'm using. So we're going to see a weekly close tomorrow at around 5 Pacific time. We do see this weekly candle, having a nice healthy correction here, and then we could see. Hopefully, again, I'm not too concerned about the weekly. I'm more concerned about the monthly. Um, we can close this here where we're at. That's fine because we're at 8,000, so we can close that there. That's okay. Um, and then the monthly, I do want to see it close right around this range here. And if we do that on the monthly again, we're going to see that run up into the $9,000 range, and then we'll reassess from there. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. It's kind of where I'm at with that. Um, Again, this is what I'm doing. You guys follow whatever works for you guys. This is what's been working for me, so that's what I stick to. All right, so moving on, I did want to share this piece of news with you from CBS. They did an interview with this guy from Danske, or former employer of Danske Bank, in the hang on a second, I forgot where he was. He was based out of uh, Tallinn, Estonia. Tallinn, Estonia. So he was a former bank employee, just kind of a banker. Would take these large, by large I mean like $20 million ruble orders from Russia, and they wanted to buy dollars. And this activity was kind of going on for 6 to 7 years, and these Russian originated transactions went on for 6 to 7 years, totaling about $230 billion um, through one bank, one of the branches for Danske Bank. And this behavior went on for 6 to 7 years. Nobody ever said anything about it. And we see this employee, this whistleblower, this is what they're calling him now. Um, he first went to the board of directors within Danske Bank, and one of the directors there said, "Hey, it's not our job. We're not the bank police. Leave it alone. Just kind of let it be." So I mean that tells you they were definitely in on it. But I mean he went forward and notified authorities, and now it's become a huge story. Again, 230 billion over 7 years. We can cover this particular story. It's not that 60 Minutes. I'm a fan of 60 Minutes. That's all I watch. No, I mean they've been doing some really good work. Last week we saw them do an interview with Charlie Shrem, and I thought that went really well. Really shined a positive light on Bitcoin, as opposed to what most people I think were expecting. And then this week they come up with another thing that I think is pro crypto. Not that they were trying to make this a pro crypto news or interview, but I think this is the real outcome, in my personal opinion, because of this reason. The banks have gone out of their way, including J.P. Morgan, every central bank, the IMF. They're all known for bad mouthing crypto and cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, saying all sorts of nonsensical things because they're uneducated in the subject, and mostly because they want to spread that misinformation and they want to spread that fear, that uncertainty, and that doubt. that FUD that we love to call in this industry, and just spread negative news and stifle the growth of this industry, and rightfully so because they're you know banks are just not to be trusted, and we see the example here, prime example here, $230 billion over 6 to 7 years. Banks turning a blind eye or being part of it. European banks were involved. The U.S. United States banks were involved, like exactly Chase Bank and J.P. Morgan. They caught on to this thing and they actually never even said anything. And what pisses me off, another thing that's really hypocritical about this whole thing is that they, and I mean by they I mean the banks and the IMF and these central banks, they love to talk negative about crypto exchanges. They claim that crypto exchanges do not have the proper KYC AML regulations and laws, that they don't comply. And one thing is, yeah, this is a highly unregulated industry, but if you take a look at pretty much every crypto exchange has KML, AML, and KYC um, compliance. They take all of your information. They take every piece of information they can possibly can. And if they don't, then they really place these stringent limits on your account. You can't transfer out money. You can't really receive a whole lot of money. They only let you transact in very small amounts. I mean, that's been my personal experience. That's where I'm speaking from, because that's been my experience, and I can tell, and I can vouch for a couple of exchanges out there like Binance and Coinbase, and a few others that they implement these processes, KYC and AML, for a reason. But then you have the banks and the IMF and pretty much traditional institutions going and saying that, hey, it's these exchanges cannot be trusted. They are being used for money laundering purposes. Basically taking what's been going on under their institutions, under their systems, under their tutelage, is what they claim is going on in crypto. And we see it here clearly, $230 billion of washed money being coming in from Russia to Estonia to Europe to the United States. So I mean, it's a clear example of why they badmouth cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and all of these crypto exchanges, is because they want to be able to keep doing these horrible things, these horrid things. Want to be able to keep taking in your deposits, so they can turn around and do what they've been doing all this time, all along. And it's just a shameful, shameful thing. That's why, in my opinion, banks are not to be trusted. People like Jamie Dimon, people like the IMF, the central banks. We just had again, that past interview. We had one of the central bank, um, what do you call it, executives come out and bash Bitcoin because she one thing is, she didn't answer the question. She veered off and started talking about FDIC insurance and how Bitcoin is not safe because it does not possess any sort of insurance for its investors. So if their money is gone, then there's no regulatory agency there to cover for the losses and um, bring indemnity to whoever lost funds or lost money within the crypto space. So I mean, didn't really answer anything. I mean, she just took the easy way out and just immediately started bashing Bitcoin. So again, I see this as a something that hopefully the main audience will see this as an opportunity for change, right? These banking institutions playing the hand with whoever is sending these funds and transferring the funds from again Russia. which in the interview, if you watch it, it's about a 13 to 14-minute interview. The guy even names who some of that some of that money is coming from, and it so happens to be the president of Russia's um, first cousin. I think his name's Igor Putin. Again, he's the president's first cousin. So so yeah, I mean, watch the interview. I highly recommend it. I will post the link to the interview on this on the bio of this video. You guys can click on it and tell us what you think after you watch it. Definitely leave your comments, give us some likes, share the video, tell your friends about it. And again, don't forget to tell us what you like about the video, what you don't like, and what you'd like us to cover. I am also working on the whole Craig Wright situation, and I'm going to be making a video hopefully within the next couple of days on what my take is and why I've been doing a lot of research in the subject, and I'll give you my opinion and tell you why or why not I think Craig Wright is or isn't Satoshi. But again, I've been studying up on that, and I think I've got a pretty good grasp on it. I just got to finish a couple more hours of research, and then I'll be posting that either tomorrow or Monday night. Um, so stay tuned for that. Let me know what you guys think. Also, follow us on Twitter at the Real Shaw 256, and also on Instagram. I post on Instagram a lot more probably than Twitter. And you can follow the content that I'll be talking about pretty much every night, every video. Um, so hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Hope you guys are liking what we're trying to do here, and hopefully you guys will subscribe as well. So um, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Definitely let us know what you think, and we'll be seeing you on the next one. Thanks a bunch. Have a good night, guys.